Episode 1 of Grid begins with a solar flare from the sun decimating a satellite nearby. It hurtles into another just outside Earth and prepares to crash into our planet. Only, a large force field covering the entire globe stops that from happening. In this timeline, the entire Earth has been blanketed with an orange shield known as the Grid since 2004, a year before this solar flare. The explosion causes big problems with the communication equipment across the planet. A big blackout plunges the world into darkness. Well, some of it anyway. Communication equipment is sporadic at best, with some characters able to use their phones, and the Korean authorities and other government agencies still able to use their computers and equipment to monitor the grid. The only hope is that the grid can withstand this oncoming storm and become operational. Thankfully, it does. This shield was actually created to artificially expanded magnetic fields with the distinct purpose of protecting mankind from solar winds. One of the characters here is shocked, taking a break and reflecting how she was right. We then fast forward to October 31st, 2021. Kim Se-ha shows up at a convenience store to grab a parcel, but he notices the man acting shadily, and the package he receives with an ominous drop of blood on it. Realizing it could lead to something bigger, the actual shop assistant happens to be murdered, stabbed with a pair of scissors. The CCTV footage seems to confirm that Se-ha has lip-reading skills, and it appears he told the murderer not to drink alcohol in this store. Among those investigating is Young Si-byuk, the young girl we saw earlier in the episode. Anyway, she joins Se-ha as they investigate the scene together. It's worth noting here that Se-ha isn't actually a detective, but he's just allowed to waltz in and look at the dead body all the same. Eventually Se-ha heads over to a care home, where he's been looking after his mother. Whilst there, Se-ha begins assembling his gun, while listening as a news report confirms that the police are having difficulty tracking down the assailant. When Se-ha arrives at work the following day, at the Administration Bureau of all places, he begins searching online about the failed operation from the police. The suspect's name is actually Kim Manok. Si-byuk's statement confirms they dispatched a team to track him down after finding his address. Officers managed to corner him, with Si-byuk giving chase. Manok managed to use a rope to get to the rooftop, but with the door locked and nowhere to go, he skips across the rooftops and eventually hides under a truck. Si-byuk finds him, but a mysterious masked female stops her, allowing Manok to leave. When Si-byuk tries to punch her, this woman disappears right in front of her face. However, Si-byuk does manage to find a strand of her hair in the truck Manok was hiding under, and remains determined to try and track down who this unknown assailant is. The episode ending explained. Well, that was a bit of a mess. The ideas in Grid are actually quite alluring, but the execution, especially over a 48-minute episode, feels rushed and underdeveloped. The whole Grid concept is not explored at all, nor are the logistics around how this would even be possible, much less with a global effort all pulling together to stop a solar flare. Not only that, beyond a few snippets of their childhood, we learn absolutely nothing about Si-byuk and Se-ha. Se-ha seems to be good at lip-reading, and his job involves working for the Bureau, but how or why he ended up there is still unknown. Likewise, Si-byuk is given no background beyond her on the school field, but, of course, there's still time for that to change. However, it's hard not to think Grid is rushing through its plot points, and I hope we actually get some flashbacks to explain the Grid's inception, along with this strange time traveler too. Grid's opening episode is far from perfect, and these Korean sci-fi shows are usually a bit of a mixed bag. Hopefully things pick up going forward.